Okay, question 4.6. We need to select a distribution center based on the least expensive cost or the cheapest one, and then we're going to design the internal layout of that DC. So the first thing we need to do is let's go to our to task 4.5. So you should have a table which has all your costs: rent per annum, loading, equipment, transport, wages, to give you your total. So you want to choose the cheapest of these, which in my case is Lara, and just take note of the square meterage of the Lara DC. So if we go back up here, you'll notice it is 260 square meters. So I'll take that figure, and on a new sheet I'm going to type in 260 square meters right there. Then to get the meters of it, because we're going to assume the length and width are equal, just run a square root on that one. We do a square root, open brackets, and then click on the 260 or the cell that has your square meters. That gives us a warehouse. We'll round that down 16.12, so 16 by 16 meters, which is going to correspond to 16 rows, which I'll highlight, and 16 columns. So I'm looking at the name window up the top left hand side, and I'll just put a border around that, and I might shrink these to make them proportionally correct. Then I'm going to put a 1 in each cell, and the 1 represents 1 cubic meter, or a box that is 1 meter high by 1 meter wide by 1 meter deep. And if I drag that down, I'm going to fill my distribution center with many boxes, and in fact the total can be found by running a sum of that whole area, giving me 256 boxes. In terms of units, given that 1 cubic meter holds 2,500, we can do total number of boxes multiplied by 2,500. Gives me a total capacity of 640,000 units as it stands at the moment. Final one is capacity utilization, and for this to occur we need to go back to our master production schedule and have a look at a few things. We need to look at column T and capacity, and at the moment you should have name in there, and that's because the formula isn't functioning because it doesn't know what total boxes is, and we're going to tell it. If we go back to our layout here, and total units, so I've actually named it incorrectly, we're going to name that total boxes. So it should be total units basically. And enter. And now if we go back to the master production schedule, we now start to see percentages. So as this distribution center stands with 256 boxes in it, or 640,000 units, on Tuesday the 8th of January, it has a capacity of 1.05%. Now these figures won't mean anything at the moment, but they will in a moment. Now, highlight this column without the headings, and we're going to name this column capacity. And enter. Why did you do that? Don't save. Let's try again. Capacity. And finally, to get the capacity utilization, let's run a max function, which will find the day in which the warehouse or the distribution center is at its most full, or is most full, and that's 103% as it stands at the moment. Okay, now we're ready to start our tasks. So given our conditions that every pallet box must have direct access to a passageway, every passage has to be at least 2 meters wide, or 2 cells wide, a receivables area must be 16 square meters or 4 by 4, and that's about it. So on that basis we can go here, and I might put in a distribution receivables area across here. So I need to delete the ones because you need that as an empty space, and then I can start deleting where I want my passageway to go. And you'll notice as you start deleting it, watch what happens here. The number of boxes decreases, the number of units decrease, because you've obviously got less space because you're removing boxes. And the objective, there we go, it's a bit better. So you start playing around with it. The idea is to keep the total boxes as high as possible and not to go above a capacity utilization of 180%, 100%, because what it's telling me at the moment is that there's one day in the year where my warehouse is 180% full, which obviously you can't have it at 180. It has to be below 100%. Now my figures are misleading because I haven't completed my master production schedule. So the objective of this exercise is you just try it a few times. You might do something like that. And then if that's the best you can get for that one, just copy that and have it go down here and try it again and start afresh. So put in all your ones, drag, oops, and then try a different configuration. You have to become, so your driver is capacity utilization cannot be above 100%, and you should have as many boxes as you possibly can in your DC. If you still find yourself being over 100%, then you've got to go back to your master production schedule and start looking at the causes why you've got this peak in usage of your warehouse. And usually you'll find it's got to do with when you've booked a ship. So you may have to then go reschedule your bookings for your ship. So end result, you'll have 3, possibly 4 different configurations for your layout.